Take it right down, take it right down, right down. Take it right down, take it right down, right down.
Yeah. Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere, to you, the individual, as part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rec Hides here on talk radio version of the OMSR. I am your brief but concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Thrill. Happy St. Patty's Day, laddies, or lassies. Alright, continuation of Bracketology, Breakdownology. All the video hides courtesy to ESPN and who I've been calling crew number 2, everything else to the OMSR. Always do a little show like this, let you know the clip order coming up and the whys and wherefores. But if you're a repeat viewer or a sub, you kind of know what's going on, or maybe you're seeing this for the first time. So I got the Elite 8 predictions from our crew number 2. Why am I calling them crew number 2? Because the first round of Bracketology was done by the guys on point, or the MCs, as it were. Not that there's difference in quality, just different styles. Frankly, I think this worked out a little bit better, because crew number 1 can go off on their analysis a bit too much. You know, Reese Davis, Jay Will, Jay Billis, we all love him, Digger Phelps, Dickie B. Instead, you get something a little bit more succinct and a different style of banter from Dan Dockage. Gotta love his style. Miles Simon, Coach, it's also the Coach Dockage. Coach Bruce Pearl, Tennessee fame, and Chris Carter. You from Boston? Making them black specs work. I think it's Carter. Carter. Alright, we got all of the regions bundled into one. Their Elite 8 predictions. Maybe you're not interested so much in the tournament. You know, you're not a college basketball fanatic like yours, Julie, of the OMSR. Well, that's what happens when you play the game for 34 years and pay attention to the college game for 30, and you had a brief stint yourself till your stupid ankle blew up on you. Anywho, if you'd like to get more sense of this, and you're like one of those bracket filler outer fanatics, check out the broader based, by region. This is all bundled in one. West, mid, south, and east. OMSR is the b-ball beast. So that's what's coming up. Thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're out there. Reminding you, this is that one time of year where one of you lads or lasses out there, you're going to know somebody's going to get a silly-ass DUI because they thought they didn't have too much. They go out driving around after, especially the first weekend when there's nothing but games going on until 10 o'clock Pacific time, okay? Remind them about that. Take the keys away. Roll clips.
Like carving pumpkins in late October or hanging lights on Christmas Eve. Filling brackets is a must in March. Study it. Fill it out. Burn it up. Start again. Hand it in. Show those boys in accounting who knows who's best. 3 weeks. One word. Madness.
Dockage, Miles Simon, Bruce Pearl, Chris Carter. Before we started the show tonight, the 3 of these gentlemen filled out their brackets. We combined them into one super bracket. Now we're into the Sweet 16, and let's see who you guys picked in the East and the South regions. We'll put them all up here, and we'll take a look at the East. You're talking about, we'll start with the South, I should say, at the top. South's at the top, East is at the bottom here. Florida and UCLA. I got a feeling you guys are going to go with Florida, even though Kyle Anderson has been spectacular, such an improvement over last year. I think you guys are going to go with Florida.
Yeah, I saw today out of Florida.
What'd you say?
This concerns me a little bit. I thought Kentucky did a pretty good job of just staying in front of them. I thought they stayed in front, made them take tough shots, didn't overhelp to where you're kicking it out for threes. And I thought as Kentucky can do it, control the backboard. Now, I don't know if UCLA can control the backboard, but I know that they're quick enough, maybe, to keep people in front of them if they back off of them. Certainly Kyle Anderson can do it with length. This is the first time, certainly wasn't last week against Kentucky, but this is the first time today that I saw Kentucky team offensively vulnerable.
And one thing to worry about if that matchup comes up, UCLA plays zone. Florida traditionally has been an excellent three-point shooting team.
Not this year.
Not this year. They only make about 6.5 threes per game this year, the second lowest in the Billy Donovan era. So that can be a concern, but I do worry about the backboard and the front line. But Florida is very locked in on the defensive end.
Yeah, just find Frazier. I mean, you got to find Frazier.
Yeah.
You're going to play his own. He's the guy.
Kansas advancing, regardless of who they play. We've got them beating Ohio State here, but you guys all like Kansas?
All like Kansas, and that's when Embiid is supposed to be back for that game.
Well, let me throw this one out at you. If he's not back for that game, what if the injury is worse, the rehab isn't going the way Bill Self hopes it would? What if he's not back? What is Kansas like without Embiid protecting that rim?
I guess, and maybe I'm stealing your thunder, because Aaron Craft could be a factor. The Ohio State's defense with their guards could give Kansas's guards a little trouble turning them over. I mean, look,
they would.
Ohio State figured out that they were never going to be a high-scoring team, that Aaron Craft was not supposed to take jump shots and be reliant for scoring, and let's just be the most dominating perimeter defensive team in the country. They can never get that back. They could be a factor in the tournament.
And it's not just Kraft and Shannon Scott. Lenzel Smith III is pretty good, too. Yeah. Lenzel Smith Jr. is pretty good, too. The only thing that I will say is, Embiid or no Embiid, you can still play fast if you're Kansas. And scoring points is so difficult for Ohio State. Yeah. There's just nowhere to go. They came back from 18 because Ross got going and because Dalla Valle got going. That's it.
Let me tell you this, though. With Nadir Tharp, the difference in his numbers between wins and losses, he is the key. As much as we talk about Embiid, Selden, Wiggins, Perry Ellis, whoever you want to talk about, Tharp is the guy. When he plays well, when they win, he's at 10 points per game. In losses, about 5 points per game. His field goal percentage is up by about 50% in wins and down there in the 30s in losses. And so Kraft can get underneath him, force him to turn it over, get them out of that 3-out, 2-in motion offense. They could give him some problems.
And it's a Michigan State team heading into the Big Ten tournament. They hadn't won 2 games in a row, going all the way back to January 21st. Now, folks are saying they won 3 in a row in the Big Ten tournament. Maybe they can win another 6 in a row and cut down the nets. Is this team that much better now, Dockage, than they were just even a couple of weeks ago? Even that loss against Nebraska, the loss against Ohio State?
Yeah, I think they are, and here's why. I think that a lot of teams have a good guard, a lot of teams have a good big guy, and there's talent, and Michigan State has talent, but there's 2 things involved. Gary Harris is a terrific two-way player. Like, he'll stay in front of you, he'll guard. And the other thing with Tom Izzo is this. Look, people talk about toughness and all that kind of stuff with Izzo. You know what Izzo's really good at? Getting his best players shots where they can make shots. And now they're where they were at when they were in the preseason. Dawson trails, maybe Payne rim runs. Their wings are running, and they're comfortable now. I saw a far more comfortable team today than I did a week ago against Ohio State.
And you know why they're getting comfortable? Because their core group of 5 guys are now playing together and practicing together. So when you talk about Valentine, Harris, Appling, Dawson, and Payne, they had only played 4 or 5 games together in the Big Ten play. So now they're finding a rhythm, so now that makes them more comfortable.
Michigan State's trying to get to the Final Four to get these guys back. Everybody's been with Tom Izzo over 4 years. They've played there. This might be their toughest matchup on their road to the Final Four, this Virginia team, because the pace of this game is going to be really, really slow. The hardest thing about losing guys is not when you lose them, it's about when you get them back. Roles change, assignments change, and it looks like Michigan State has recovered from that.
That's why I felt good about them today. I thought that both ends of the court. I thought both ends of the court, they were more organized. They didn't have to shuffle guys. Gary Harris could guard Stauskas. Stauskas the best player. Gary Harris the best defender.
And Iowa State moving on. They won the Mountain West regular season, lost to New Mexico in the conference championship game. And you guys have Arizona going on. Can San Diego State give them a game?
Absolutely they can. They played earlier this season at San Diego State. They gave Arizona all they could handle. I believe it was an 8 or 9 point game. San Diego State leads the country in defensive efficiency. Arizona doesn't score the ball well. As of late, it's been a little bit better. But San Diego State will come out, guard them. They have just as many athletes as Arizona has. They'll do a lot of switching with Winston Shepard and Josh Davis. Ultimately, I like Arizona to move on, but it'll be one heck of a game.
Who ever thought we talk about 2 West Coast teams and talk about first to 50? I mean, stereotypically, Arizona, San Diego State, West Coast, up and down. These 2 teams play at a pace. They play at their own pace. They take good care of the basketball. They're very physical defensively, solid.
Where these coaches came from. Sean Miller from the East and the Midwest, and Steve Fisher
from Illinois.
Right. Fisher's always done well, really well. Even when he had Howard and Chris Webber. He always doubled the post. Always doubled the post and figured it out from there, and that has stymied teams for as long as Steve Fisher's been coaching basketball. It's amazing.
You know, you double it for two reasons. One, you double a great player to get out of his hands and maybe keep you out of foul trouble. Two, you double a bad player and turn him over. So it can be a win-win situation if you rotate properly off the ball.
The thing about San Diego State, they have a lot less scoring than Arizona has. Arizona's going to be able to find ways to, I think, get it in the basket, where San Diego State is heavily reliant on Xavier Thames as their dominant and match up with them really well.
Frank Kaminsky is a terrific player. Okay, he played great early in the year. He played great late in the year. When he struggled a little bit in the middle of the year, coaches said, "Look, that's how he practices great every day in practice. That's how he plays. He's a nightmare matchup. Yeah, he can shoot the three as a 7-footer, but he can score inside and get fouled. And I think that's where Wisconsin has an advantage.
First one to 10 threes wins. Both can shoot the ball. I mean, Gosser can really shoot the basketball. Bruss can really shoot the basketball. Decker can shoot it. You mentioned Kaminsky. Both of these teams. Now, I agree with you about the defense. Wisconsin's defense, particularly on straight drives to the bucket. When have you ever seen a Wisconsin Bo Ryan team or Dick Bennett team just beat on a little shake, straight drive to the rim? You never saw that. This year you do, but they make up for it because this is by far not even close. Bo Ryan's best.
Look at these four teams in the Midwest: Kentucky and Louisville, Duke and Michigan. You guys have Louisville and Michigan. Talk about some heavyweights advancing.
Well, I mean, Rick Pitino may be doing the best job, of all time. This was not supposed to be as good a basketball team. They have no depth on the front line, but they've got specialists. They've got scoring point guards in Russ Smith and Chris Jones. Luke Hancock is a glue guy who knocks down threes and sets their entire offense. And then Montrezl Harrell. He's the best set big man in certainly in the American Conference. The issue with them is do they have, if they get to a single game, foul trouble for Louisville could be a problem. And they blow teams out they're supposed to blow out. They've been challenged to beat the teams that can look them right in the eye.
You know what they do really well? And again, it's not the difference in how great the player is, but Stephen Van Treese, they play that middle ball screen really, really well. St. Louis does it too with Rob Lowe, and Kaminsky does it great for Wisconsin, but they just don't, in the middle of the lane, let you get to the rim, and then everybody comes on backflow and rebounds like crazy, making up for a lack of size.
Well, talk about heavyweights. Somebody is going to the Final Four out of this group. We're going to show you who these guys think Final Four worthy.